Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well tonight. My name's Michael, and this is Lynnelle, and we are coming to you guys live from our home here in Plainfield. And this is part 2 of our Let's Talk, and we were talking last time about love, sex, and dating. And we just wanted to continue this conversation with you. So we're going to give a couple of minutes for people to log on and to be a part of the conversation. If you are logging on tonight, we would love for you to comment. Let us know where you're watching from. If you have questions, and we want to be a part of the conversation. And so we would love for you to engage with us here tonight.
Or just a little hello.
Yes.
You can say hi.
Absolutely.
We know you're out there.
Yes. And it is Friday night. Maybe you're out on a date night. It's a beautiful night tonight here outside. And last time we talked about the 3 flames. I don't know if you guys remember that, but we talked about love and what those words mean. We talked about ahava and raya and dod. And we talked about friendship love, the love of commitment, making a commitment to one another, and then the physical love that we discussed when we had this conversation last time.
And you can go back on our Let's Talk videos here and check that out if you want to.
Yes. And tonight we wanted to dive a little bit deeper into the conversation of the 5 love languages. So we're going to be looking at some of those tonight. And what does the Bible have to say about those? And then also what are some practical tools? What are some things that you can do as a couple, whether you're dating or whether you're married, and that you can be a part of knowing what the 5 love languages are? And Lynnelle, why do you think those are important?
Well, because it helps us love each other better. And sometimes we need a little bit of guidance on how to figure each other out.
Yes. And we've been married for almost 20 years, and I'm still trying to figure her out. And she's still trying to figure me out, I think, a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to read each of the 5 love languages, what they are, and a little definition to help understand why these are the ones that we decided would be the 5 love languages. It's actually from a book, and I'm sure many of you have heard about it, but I would encourage you to go check it out. Go to the 5languages.org, and there is a little quiz you can take, and it will tell you what your love languages are.
Yep.
And the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, using positive words to affirm the one you love. Gifts is the second one, giving thoughtful gifts to show you are thinking about someone. Acts of service, doing something that you know the other person would like. Quality time, giving your individual attention. And the 5th one is physical touch, holding hands, kissing, embracing, putting a hand on the shoulder, or any other affirming touch. So
those are the 5 love languages. And so what we would love to do tonight is just start the conversation on, hey, how do we practically affirm one another? And then also, and you may be watching tonight. I always just want to say this because we have no idea who's watching. You may not be a Christ follower. You may not be a Christian. Maybe someone sent this link to you, and that's totally fine. You don't have to believe what we believe in order for these to make a difference in your life or an impact in your dating relationships or in your marriage. I just want to affirm that. But obviously tonight we are talking from a biblical worldview. And so we want to just share some verses, some practical things that the Bible has to say about that, but then also some action points that you can practice with your spouse or with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, or if you're in a dating relationship. So the first one that we want to talk about is acts of service. And Lynnelle, you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
There's a verse in John 13, well, actually it's the passage talking about the Last Supper that Jesus had with his disciples. And he gets up from the table and wraps a towel around his waist and begins to serve the disciples, or by washing their feet as a servant. And Jesus talks a lot about serving, and by serving, you'll be blessed. And so I almost want to say acts of service is probably one of those top.
Yes.
Like if you can serve someone, you're loving them. And so that's in John 13. And some examples, like practically, we were talking about how you can just run errands for your spouse or even your family members to show them I love you. And housework and chores. Yeah. Car care. This one loves some car care.
Yes. We have to go and get the car washed and vacuumed and make sure it's clean. That's correct.
And even home maintenance, when you're serving people you love, when we sometimes call those honey-do lists. Those aren't really fun to do all the time for everybody, but that shows your love.
Yeah. And I think one that gets overlooked, and I don't know what your roles are in your relationship, if men, you're the one who cooks, or maybe you just grill, or if the wife is the one who cooks, or if you guys eat out a lot, I'm not sure. But I think sometimes, like, I'm just thinking about you feeding the kids every day. And we were just talking about our kids menu, and for the summer, because they're home all day, every day, and they're running to the kitchen. I'm hungry, and they're really probably just bored. But Lynnelle takes care of so many meals, of preparing that, of cleaning up, of doing those acts of service for our children and even for me. And so I think sometimes we can forget about that, and men and kids and family members, we can forget to say thank you for that to someone. And that kind of leads into words of affirmation, the next thing.
Number 2, words of affirmation. Let's see. Using positive words to affirm the one you love. So we just want to get it right here. We don't have them all memorized.
Yes.
But, in Mark chapter 14, verses 6 through 9, those verses talk about a woman who anoints Jesus with oil, very precious oil to her. And some people didn't really think that was worth what she was doing, that they could have sold that oil and made some other money, the people around him.
Yeah, it was very valuable. And they're like, you're wasting this.
Yeah. And Jesus said, she's done a beautiful thing. And for the rest of time, her story will be told. And we're talking about it right now.
Yeah.
And
over 2,000 years later, we're still talking about what she did.
Yeah.
And so what I love about Jesus all throughout the Gospels is he is always elevating the status of women. And if you study history, if you study the Bible, if you study the status of women during that time, they were considered property or just people that were looked down upon. And so Jesus is always elevating the status of women. And I love that in that story.
He affirms her.
He affirms what she's doing
with his words.
And lifts her up.
Some examples?
So, what are examples? Thank you.
Words to say. Yeah, thank you. Anything beginning with thank you. That's good.
Yeah.
And your support means so much to me. And I think that can really hold couples in a strong way, is feeling that you're supported, because we are not perfect. We make mistakes, but we support each other and get through it. We did want to try to get through all of these in a short little video here. So
we'll keep going.
I know that we might run out of time, but we want this to be something that's easy just for someone to watch if you share it, and not too long.
So speaking of time, quality time.
Yeah.
Good segue, Lynnelle. That was awesome. So quality time is spending, do you want to read the definition for quality time?
Giving your undivided attention.
Yes. So I think that that's important, because I think these things right here can distract many of us, and that we're with our spouse or we're with our significant other and we're doing this instead of actually paying attention to the person that we're with. So quality times means that you're fully present, you're in the moment, you're not just sitting next to the person. And I think going to movies is great, or watching movies or your favorite TV shows. I know that that can be quality time sometimes. Earlier, Lynnelle and I went on a walk together earlier this afternoon. And so those are, I'm not saying you can't have quality time when you're on your phone, but it's easy just to sit there and not communicate with one another, going back to words of affirmation or being in communication, how important communication is. And Lynnelle's continually reminding me, hey, I can't read your thoughts, Michael. I don't know what you're thinking. And so I think so many times it's important that when we have quality time, that we're not just sitting next to each other watching a screen, but we're actually engaged. Yeah.
Undivided is the key word there.
Yeah.
Undivided attention.
And do you want to read that verse, or I can? Okay. So in Mark chapter 3 and verse number 14, this is where Jesus calls the disciples, and it's really easy to just skim over this verse, but it says he called the 12 that they might be with him. And I think that that's so important. Jesus didn't just call them just to hang out, but he called them to be with him. He was intentional about the time that he was going to spend with them for the next 3.5 years, that he was going to invest into these men that he surrounded himself with. So Jesus even shows the importance of having that quality time. And Hun, I'll let you talk about maybe some examples of quality time.
Scheduling a weekly date night. And that doesn't have to be something extravagant or at a fancy restaurant every time. It can just, you guys can plan out your date together. And
or men, can I say something? Take initiative and do the plan, like plan it and surprise her and do something fun or creative.
That is good sometimes.
Yes.
But it doesn't always have to be the pressure on the guys.
But try it. Just sometimes try. Okay.
And try a new restaurant together, or like we were saying, go on a long walk or work out together. If long walks aren't what you think would be fun, but you guys like working out, those are a few.
Yeah. Spending quality time together. That's important. Okay. And then number 4.
Giving gifts.
Giving gifts.
Giving thoughtful gifts to show you are thinking about someone.
And the verse we had for that, do you remember the verse what
we
were talking about?
We were noticing just how much Jesus, and even through the Bible, giving to the needy can be a gift giving love language, because Jesus said, whenever you do this, not if you do this. So he, like Michael was saying, from a biblical worldview, we want to give, and that coming into a marriage or in dating relationship or with family, listening to what they like or what they enjoy. And that can be a love language, because you notice, you care enough to listen, and that can speak the world to someone. When you show up with something special that you said, I just heard you say that, that you like this, and I was thinking of you. And so giving to the needy and thinking of people in a special way.
Yes. And I think you guys know this. When Jesus fed the 5,000, he saw that they were hungry, and even the 4,000. He does it twice in the Gospels where he's feeding the multitudes. And he sees, hey, this is something that they need right now. And so he took the time with the loaves, with the fishes, to bless them, to break them, and to give them. And so I just think That's not my love language. It's not gifts. But I want to brag on someone. There's someone in our church, and she regularly, I want to say monthly, it feels like, sends us a Culver's gift card for our kids because she heard them say that they like Culver's ice cream one time. And not that
And
I'm
they
not,
do love
yes,
it.
they do. And I'm not asking for more gift cards. So please don't send us more gift cards for Culver's, or I'll send you our dental bill. But I'm joking. But what I'm saying is she heard them say that. And so whenever we get those gift cards, their face lights up, and we go and get a treat from Culver's, and they love that. And it's just something so small, but it's something so meaningful to them, that when we get to do that together as a family. So giving gifts, that might be one of your love languages. And then the last one is physical touch. And all throughout scripture, I think that we see that Jesus, he's touching the leper, he's touching the blind man, he's touching the lame, he's touching the woman. Well, the woman who had the issue of blood just reached out and touched him. So there is power in the physical touch. And we shared a little bit about the sexual touch and how between a husband and a wife, how that's important and it's necessary and it's biblical and all of those things. But we're not just talking about a sexual touch here, even though that is important. And I want to emphasize that. But Lynnelle, and we've talked about this, like she loves just being close to me or sitting next to me, or me holding her hand when we're going on a walk, or probably not when we're going on a walk because it's so hot
when
outside.
It's 90 degrees.
Yeah. And our hands are swollen shut. But holding hands, like that's important to her, or putting my arm around her, or rubbing her back like that. I know that's one of Lynnelle's love languages. And so I want to make sure that I'm showing her that love, and by giving her physical touch and how important that is to her. Do you have any insight on that, hon?
Well, I'm just looking at the time here.
Okay.
So.
All right. So she's watching our clock.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up, everyone. So what we want to leave you with is this. We would love for you, like Lynnelle said, you can Google 5 love languages quiz. You can go there and you can see that. We would love for you to take a quiz. If you're dating, especially if you're dating, we were asking our oldest daughter this evening, who is in a dating relationship, just about her love languages, what she thinks hers is and what she thinks her boyfriend's is. And so I think it's important that you know that you know what your love language is, and that your spouse knows that, or the person that you're dating knows that, because it's important. Because here's the tendency, and I think we talked about this a little bit, and we're going to wrap it up. But I think so my love language is acts of service. Okay. So I can show Lynnelle acts of service all day long. I can wash the dishes, do laundry, help clean the house. And she recognizes that, and she's an awesome wife, and she says, thank you. I'm not saying that, but that doesn't fill her love language. I'm not speaking her love language when I'm doing that. I like that because that's just part of my personality, but her love language is the physical touch. So if I do acts of service all day, but I never give her a hug, I never look into her eyes and hold her and tell her I love her, or hold her hand, or put my hand on her knee or on her back, she's like, hey, that's great. And that's nice. And thank you for doing that. But I wasn't speaking her language. I wasn't communicating my love to her. And I can do all of those things and say, Lynnelle, don't you see how much I love you? But then she's just thinking, you know what? I do, but that's not the language that she speaks when it comes to her love language. So that's why I think it's so important that you know what your love language is, and that you know what your spouse or your partner, the person that you're dating, you know what their love language is, and that you're able to communicate your love to them in that language that they can understand. Yeah. Do you think that's right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we wanted to do something kind of cool, and we talked about it, and we went back and forth. So we're going to end with this. We're right at 20 minutes. That's really great. Okay, so a shout out to everyone. This is a book called The 5 Love Languages. It's like a
It's the
devotional.
1 year.
It's a 1 year, and it just takes a minute. It's 1 minute devotional. Here, I want to make sure you guys can see that really good. Okay. We want to give this away to a couple, whether you're dating or married. So what I would love for you to do, and the people are going to help me here, all of my media team, I want you guys, if you can help me with this, the first couple dating or married to email me at mescamilla@calvarynaperville.org. I send me your information, your phone number or your address. I will get this to you and your name, obviously. We're giving this away for free. Okay. No charge. We want to give this. This is a gift for us to invest in your relationship. All right. So mescamilla@calvarynaperville.org. Hurry up, pull your phones out, text me, or not text me, email me your information. The first email that I get, we will give this to you. We'll get it into your hands and you guys can use it. And we just want to invest in your relationship, whether it's a marriage relationship or a dating relationship. We want you guys to know we care about you, and we think it's important that you know what your love languages are. All right. So we're giving that away. Shoot me an email. And we would love to invest in you. So any last closing thoughts, hon?
Just make sure you subscribe to our YouTube with our Calvary Naperville account so that you can stay up to date and catch any more videos throughout the next weeks and future to come.
All right. So we love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Share this with friends or others that you think would encourage them or help them. We hope you have a great Friday night, and maybe try to practice one of these love languages tonight with your spouse or with the person that you're dating. All right. Have a great Friday night. We'll see you next time.